Welcome back to Growth Catalyst Up. In our channel, we look at three things. We look at skills that you need to upgrade on, the focus and productivity that you need to think about, and hence how to turbocharge your career. In this episode, we are going to look at how do you speak fast and ensure that you are thinking and speaking in sync with each other. A lot of times we see that people struggle. They want to speak something, but they have not thought through, and therefore they mumble, bumble, and make a mockery of themselves on the stage. It need not be a stage, it can even be a simple presentation. And when they want to express, articulate, ideas don't seem to come out of their mouth, words are tumbling down, they don't know what to do, and they are looking like frozen. And a lot of times that will I freeze on the stage, will I freeze when I present becomes the biggest fear for people to go in front of a crowd, even if the crowd is their own teammates, and speak about the idea that they want to talk about. So how do we overcome this? How do you ensure that you are able to think fast and also speak fast and make sure that these are in sync with each other? That's what we are going to talk about. Let's jump in. Your speaking becomes better if your thinking is very, very clear. If you are very clear on what you need to speak about, if your topic is clear to you, if your subject matter is very, very clearly understood by you, if you are the expert on the subject matter, you don't have to worry about speaking because it automatically comes to you. Whatever you are passionate about, whatever you have thought deeply, you can speak even in your sleep. And therefore, speaking in front of anyone, whether it's a bunch of friends or complete strangers, will be cakewalk to you, provided you have mastered the subject that you want to speak on. Even if you're a master of the subject, what are the things that you need to be ready with? One, you should have thought through what you are going to talk about in that stage, in front of this kind of people. So you need to know what the audience is. Are these friends? Are these stakeholders? Are these strangers? Are these TEDx kind of people where different people come together to listen to you? So you need to know your stage, you need to know your audience. That's the first principle, so that you can filter the kind of expertise that you have into the kind of thing that you want to express for this audience. So you need to know your audience. That's the most important one, even if you're subject matter expert. Number two, if you're not subject matter expert, then you need to become that. At least for the given topic, you should know enough to talk about. What do you need to do? There's no point memorizing it. If you memorize, there is every chance that you will forget on the stage. So there's no point memorizing, but you need to know the facts and figures. You need to know the subject. What are the ways of learning the subject? One, you need to read, you need to learn, you need to learn different viewpoints on the subject so that you can tackle questions which will come at the end of the presentation. And also, while you learn about it, two things: spaced repetition and looking at different viewpoints like a visual mind mapping so that it is easy for you to understand overall perspective and how these different perspectives fit in with each other. When you know that, plus do spaced repetition, life becomes easy for so that you can understand, learn that without memorizing it, without depending on rote memory. That's the first step in understanding, mastering the subject expertise for the audience, for the stage that is going to wait for you. The second thing that you want to think about before speaking, as preparation for speaking, is frameworks, which will help you to whittle down your points to manageable number of points to go to the stage. There are a lot of frameworks available. The simplest framework that I use is talk about what you want to talk about, which is opening, talk, whatever that you want to talk, and then talk about what you just talked. So, opening, the body, and the closure. The opening is all about what you're going to speak, and the closure is all about summarizing what you just spoke. So, simple framework on talk about what you're going to talk, and talk about what you just talked, which helps you to understand, okay, there's an opening, and the opening could be that, thanks for allowing me to speak here. I'm going to talk about this topic. And then you talk about that topic. And then you thank the people for allowing you to speak there and then summarize what you spoke. Simple framework, which helps you to speak any stage, any place. The second framework that you might want to use is what I call within the body that you want to speak. You may talk about, okay, the one thing that I'm going to focus in this speech is this point. So it's called the 1 point framework. So it is all about that one point that you want to talk about. You may elaborate on that point. You may give examples of that point, why that point is useful, but it's all about that one single point of focus. It could be a lot of times it's not enough for you to focus on just one. So you may go on to say that the 3 point framework. I'm going to talk about three things, and these are the three things that I'm going to talk about. One, two, three. And all your speech is about that three things. My recommendation is don't go beyond these three things because people find it very difficult to remember 7 things, 8 things, 10 things, and so on. In a video, it may be acceptable, but in a speech without any aids, it is very, very difficult for people to remember more than three things. So 1 point or 3 points could be good frameworks that you can keep. There are other frameworks. What is called as PREP? Point, reason, example, point. You talk about a point, you explain logically and give reasons why that point is valid. You give examples, illustrate that point, and then repeat the point so that the point is memorable for people who are listening to you before moving on to another point. So whenever you are illustrating, explaining a point, you may remember this PREP method. You say the point, talk about the point, you give logical reason why that point is valid. You give examples which vividly illustrate, exemplify that point, and then summarize the point before moving on to next point. There are frameworks like this. There are tons of frameworks, but these are three of my favorite frameworks. 1 point, 3 point, PREP. When you adopt these frameworks, it helps you to think through your points, think through your speech so that you are ready. A lot of times it is very, very helpful for you to pull away from the topic and look at it from a macro perspective, from a visual perspective. How are the point that you're going to talk about, if you had to do a mind map, would be relating? What is the core that you want to talk about? What are the branches? What is the first branch, second branch, third branch? What are the sub branches within each branch? And suppose you want to talk for about 15 minutes, how many points you should have as the main branches and how many sub branch within each main branches that you should have. If you're able to visually mind map this, then you would have enough points. You'd have correlated number of points to the time that you have, and therefore you'll be able to finish on time, not exceed it too much, and finish on time, not, let's say, speak for 5 minutes while you are allotted 15 minutes, and it would look very poor on you. So you should be also be able to match the time that you are given for speech with the point that you have. Mind mapping is a very powerful way of preparing for the speech. Part two. Now let's talk about talking itself. Speak about speaking itself. You're prepared and you are now on stage. How do you deliver well on stage? That's a art and science in itself. And everything starts with preparation for that stage. When you have prepared well, when you have noted down your audience, when you have prepared your frameworks, when you have mind mapped your thought process, life becomes very, very easy to deliver on the stage. But even there, you need to have your mouth moving, tongue moving well for you to express and deliver and articulate in a beautiful manner. What are the things that you should do? You should, in an ideal world, if you're prepared well, you should deliver that speech and prepare. So stand in front of the mirror and deliver the speech, or stand in front of your mobile as a camera, deliver the speech, review, rewind, see what mistakes you are making, where you are making very powerful points, and what kind of emotions you are bringing in. Are you articulating it well? Where are you talking like a moron, talking in a stupid manner? Why you should improve that? Where are those spaces where you need to improve? So recording yourself, reviewing and looking at and rewinding and understanding where you need to improve is a very, very powerful way of preparing to deliver the speech on the stage. As a daily practice, what are the things that you can do? Very simple things. You should speak faster sometimes. You should also slow down many times. When you speak faster, it helps you to build on your ideas, deliver that very, very fast so that you can completely fill your time with the idea that you have so that the speech builds on momentum, goes on faster and faster. But for that, you need to have practice. So simple practices which many people advise you is take a 300-word speech and deliver that. Take a speech and deliver to yourself now, not only with the idea of how well you are delivering the speech, how well you are emoting it, how well you are articulating it, but also from a speed perspective. How many words are you able to speak without the words colliding with each other, without your tongue twisting on itself? So take a passage, count the number of words, and look at time yourself in terms of how fast am I able to do it. Day one, time yourself. Okay, I'm doing 90 words per minute. Good. Day two, can you improve it to 100 words per minute? Day three, can you improve it to 110 words a minute? Without losing clarity, without the word tumbling on each other, can you do this? And can you progress on that on a regular manner? Take different sets of speeches, take different sets of paragraphs, take different kinds of words, take different lens of words, lens of speech, and practice. This practice would help you to improve the speed at which you are speaking so that when the speech comes in, you are able to speak without losing momentum. The next one is how do you twist your tongue without twisting yourself in knots? So that is where things like tongue twisters come in. When you can Google, you can chat GPT, you can get top 20, top 50 tongue twisters and practice them. Say it aloud. Let me read out one tongue twister. Say it aloud slowly and then build momentum on that. Three times, four times, and then stop that and go to the next. For example, how much would a woodchuck chuck? How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would? So I'm reading it out first time. How much would a woodchuck chuck if your woodchuck would? Break down the whole sentence, whole tongue twisters into chunks and then read them carefully, slowly. How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would? How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would? So each time that you read it a little faster, but with a clarity, with your tongue not twisting on itself. And once you practice it for three times, four times, go on to the next tongue twister. It could be something like she sells seashells by the seashore. 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 So each time you repeat it with a little faster, little more momentum than before without losing clarity. The more you practice, the more tongue twisters you practice, the more sentences you practice like this, your tongue, your mouth movement will become better. The last exercise that I would recommend is to take a passage, read it aloud with exaggerated mouth movement. For example, you may read that I want to do this in a particular manner. When you do it in a very exaggerated mouth movement, you are giving the mouth all kinds of movement that we typically don't give it to. So it's again a muscle. It's again exercise that you need to get on to. Only with exercise, it will get better. All the principles that you use for focus, mind management, all of that are applicable for our mouth management and tongue management also. So give it enough practice, push it to say things aloud, push it so that it is exercising at least 2 or 3 minutes a day. It's a fun exercise, but it will get your mouth moving. And when you have to speak on stage, the mouth will not desert you. Please follow all of these exercises, all of that we talked about in terms of thinking, all of that we talked about in terms of speaking, which will make your thinking speed equal to your speaking speed. And all of this will sink in beautifully and you will deliver a memorable speech whenever you are speaking. It could be a simple presentation, it could be a impromptu speech. You will be able to deliver it without worry. I've given download material. Please download, please use. We will see you in our next episode.